Regulating and Raising. I am MaKenzie, and I'm so glad you're here. So, I really want to make a case to you today. And I actually am going to convince you of something because I know it can change the way that you mother, because that's exactly what it did for me. And so here it is. Human design is not just a like fun little personality thing that you do. It's hands down the most practical parenting tool I've ever found. And I know that sounds like a huge claim, but by the end of this episode, I want you to understand not just that it works, but why it works and how it actually does what it does. Because here is the problem most of us are living in. We are parenting in the dark. I feel like this is the most important area. And first off, we're maybe not spending enough time on it and just thinking that it's going to come natural to us or parenting just like our parents did, researching and reading books and listening to podcasts. But maybe those advice is very just generic. They're generic routines, generic methods, and we apply them to our like specific kid and our specific self. And then we blame ourselves if it doesn't work. So human design turns the lights on and it tells you how you are built and how your kid is built. So you can finally just like stop guessing at it. So I'm going to show you exactly how, using my own 3 kids who could not be more different, but the kids are really just the proof. What I really want you to walk away with today is a tool changes everything. So let's get into it. So let me start with the why, because everything builds on this. So the reason human design makes you a better mom comes down to the one idea that most of our parenting struggle is not a behavioral problem. It's a wiring mismatch. So we are trying to mother in a way that fights how we are built. And then we are trying to raise our kids in a way that fights how they are built. And when you are fighting 2 sets of wiring at once, of course, we're going to feel exhausted. So let me give you an example of this and what I exactly mean. So say that there's a mom who reads that the perfect morning is waking up at 5 a.m., working out, journaling, cold plunge, the whole thing. And so she tries it and she's more tired and more irritable than before she even started this routine. Is she lazy? Like, absolutely not. But she just might be a projector who is actually not built to push out that kind of output. And that routine is draining the exact energy that she was trying to build. So same routine, but completely wrong buyer. So that is the wiring mismatch. And we do this to ourselves and our kids all day long without even knowing it. And so let me tell you, like before I understood any of this, I was my heart racing all day, always thinking of the things that I needed to do, yelling at my kids more than I even want to admit, really allowing help, either like my mom, my grandma, like holding the baby. I just felt like I had to do it all. And if I showed any sign of weakness or that like I couldn't do it all, then it was just mayhem. So I thought I needed to be more patient or more disciplined or just more like the moms who looked like they had it all together. But that was the trap. I was trying to fix my behavior when the real problem was that I was mothering against my own wiring. And the second I understood that, I stopped trying to become a different mom and really started becoming just myself. The way human design makes you better. It gives you permission to parent as who you actually are. So that's the first half of this, is understanding you. Let me show you how concrete this actually gets. Once I knew I was a generator with an emotional authority and a defined root, I had actual instructions for the first time. As a generator, I am built to respond and I'm not built to initiate. So here's what that looks like in real life. Say that one of my kids asked me to play and the old me would have either said yes out of guilt, because I feel like that's what I thought you were supposed to. And then I felt resentful, checked out the whole time, like really wasn't present, thinking about all the things I should do. So now what I do is I pause for 1 second, check in with my body for the real yes. When the real yes comes about, I'm actually there. Like I'm present. I look deep in their eyes. I'm playing. I'm not like performing playing, like while my mind is somewhere else. Like I'm really just absorbing the joy of my child. And that little pause has changed the quality of how I show up for my kids. And as an emotional authority, I learned I do not have clarity in the moment. My kids ask, can so and so sleep over this weekend? And maybe the old me would have just blurted out an answer on the spot and then either regretted it, like because I said yes, or feeling guilty because I said no. Now, whenever those situations or those questions occur, I say, let me think about it. I will let you tonight. So I really don't feel the pressure of having to decide or give them an answer right then and there. And the answer lands after the feeling settles. And it is 99% always the right one. The pressure to decide right now was never how I was supposed to make decisions. And the defined root in me, I carry pressure in my body and I broadcast it into my home. So whether I mean to or not. So here's an example that I see constantly is a mom, you're running late and you feel that tight chest. You're moving fast and within minutes, like one of your kids has a meltdown over nothing. So they did not just catch that bad mood out of thin air. They were catching mine. So now before I walk into a room that my kids are in or anybody in, I actually pause at the door. I drop my shoulder, I unclench my jaw, I take one slow breath out and then walk in. And the whole room is different. And that is human design being practical. It did not just tell me who I am, it told me like how I'm supposed to respond and what I'm supposed to do. So now, here is the second half, and this is where it gets really good. Understanding yourself is huge, but understanding your kids is what changes your whole house. So, let me show you with my three because they are living proof that one approach cannot possibly work for every child. So, my oldest, she is a 6'2" generator with a sacral authority. So she is a responder like me. So say that Bexley, like, go put your shoes on. Like sometimes I get nothing, like total stall. Like usually that's how it goes. But if I ask her like a yes, no question, her gut can answer like for example, like, are you ready for the park? I get an instant like, and her whole body moves. So same kid, different result. But just because I asked in a way that her sacral could actually respond to instead of demanding her, it changed the whole situation. And her 6'2" means she is a watcher. So at a birthday party or at, recess or outside, like she will stand on the edge and just kind of observe a little bit before she really joins in. And she needs to really just like go off to her room to recharge a lot of times afterwards. Like she loves her room. And I used to think like she was shy or like pulling away or just something was wrong. And now I just know that she's taking it all in, which is exactly what like 6 line does. And also refilling her cup alone is exactly what a 2 line needs. So I protect it instead of like pushing her into the middle of things. So my middle, he is a manifesting generator 1-3 with an emotional authority. So he's got a completely different engine than my oldest. So Bruin will get obsessed with something like Transformers right now, like, or maybe a new sport, build something, go all in for 2 weeks and then like move on. And the old me thought I like had to make him stick to something so that he would learn follow through. But Manny gens are built to try things fast and move on. Like, and it's not them quitting, it's them just like filtering out. So I stopped forcing him to finish things. And his 1 line needs the why. Why, mom? Why this? Why that? He's my question kid. So when it is time to leave somewhere and I just say, we are going now, like he sometimes like falls apart, has those meltdowns. And I say, we're leaving in a few minutes because we have to pick up your sister or go to church or go run an errand. Like he's completely fine because a 1 line that understands the reason behind things feels safe. And his 3 line learns by doing, bumping into things. I always said that he needed like a built-in helmet because he's always running into things, always like touching things, like always like trying things. So when he spills or breaks or messes something up, I really try to say, like, what did we learn? Like, how would we do things differently instead of getting after him? Because for him, like, there are no mistakes. It's only like experiments. My baby, he is a 2-4 manifestor with an emotional authority. So his design is the most different from mine, which makes obvious sense. He has taught me the most. Manifestors are built to initiate and they do not do well being controlled. For every mom who is a mom of a manifestor, they will recognize this. Like say that we are at the park and it's time to go and the old me would have just like scooped him up and threw him in the car. And a lot of times have like a complete meltdown, like kicking, screaming, all that. Because to a manifestor, being suddenly stopped and controlled feels like a violation. So now I really inform him. So 5 more minutes and then we're going to have to leave. 2 more minutes and it's bath time. Okay. Time to go, Bane. Like same kid, same leaving the park. But because he was informed before these situations, instead of me just picking up and grabbing him, but the meltdown was never about the leaving. It was all about the controls. This is the whole point is 3 kids, a responder who needs to be asked instead of commanded, a multi-passionate kid who needs the why and the freedom to move on, and an initiator who needs to be informed instead of controlled. So if I used one method on all 3 of them, I would be failing at least 2 of them every single day, and also just like blaming myself. And that's what I was doing. Like our household, it just wasn't calm before I found like human design, and it's literally changed the temperature in our house. And it's let me see them as like 3 different people and to give me permission to parent them in 3 different ways. And so here's something that surprised me a lot and show just how deep this does really go is 2 of my 3, the boys, they have the same authority that I do. So emotional. So 3 of us in our house are wired, which emotional is one of the most common authorities when it comes to feeling. So none of us know the truth in the heat of the moment. We all have to ride the wave and let it pass before we know what we really, really think. So here is what that looks like in our home is when Bruin is maybe mid meltdown. I try to get him to talk about it or give him a hug or apologize right then. It typically goes nowhere. So because he's at a peak of the wave, there is no clarity for him at that point. So but if I give him a few minutes to take a couple breaths, like let the feeling really move through and then come back, like that is when the real conversation happens. And we have basically made peace with the fact that in this house, we sleep on things. We let the big feelings settle before we decide anything. Like that is not us dragging our feet or not wanting to do something or being undecisive or being dramatic. That is just like 3 emotional bodies, just honoring how we're built. And I never would have known to give my kids that grace or even myself that grace if I had not ever understood our design or ran into human design. So let me bring this all the way back to the case that I am making here. And that's human design makes you a better mom for 2 main reasons. It shows you how you are wired so you can stop parenting like someone that you're not. It shows you how your kids are wired so you can stop raising them like someone they are not. And those 2 things together in the daily war. Most of the time, most of us are fighting without even realizing it. And the order matters. It does start with you. You have to understand and regulate yourself first and foremost before you start to regulate the rest of that household because you are the thermostat to the home. And when you're regulated and living in your design, you can finally see your kids clearer. So this is a solution. So if you are parenting more than one kid and feeling like you're failing one of them or all of them, you probably are not failing anyone. You are just using basically just like one blueprint, one map for several different territories. And human design gives you the right blueprint, map, direction for each one. So if you want to start where I started with understanding your own design, that is exactly what my free training does. It walks you through your type and how you actually are wired to mother. I'll leave that in the show notes. Learn how you're built, regulate your own body, and then watch how much more clearly you can start to see the little people in front of you and just in general, all the people around you. This is the whole work. And this is the best gift I was ever given for not only myself, but for my family. So I want to give it to you. Anyways, I absolutely love you and I love your family and I want there to be peace, like I always say, in every home. And I just appreciate you being here and I will see you next